Good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California on an absolutely lovely day. Hey, I am out on the Independence on an 8-day trip returning November the 26th. But that doesn't mean we're not going to have constant updates for you all. We're going to try to come to you from the Independence. It may be a little bit shorter because the upload on the internet is difficult sometimes, but we will be coming live to you all on occasion, and we will also be posting shorts, and also we'll be over there on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and also Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That's the plan anyway. We're going to try to come to you every single day, multiple times during the day, to keep you informed on how our 8-day trip is going. It should be fantastic. Please remember to visit all of our sponsors. We really appreciate it when you do that. It means the world to us and to them, and it shows your love for the Friedman Adventures family. And don't forget, for the holiday season, come on, get somebody you love, somebody who loves Friedman Adventures, a hat or a shirt or some other Friedman Adventures merchandise. You can do that by going to www.embroiderycreations.net, and please purchase some hats and shirts. It would mean the world to me. It helps us to produce more content, and you get to sport the fact that you are a very important member of the Friedman Adventures family. All right, on the Independence back in November 26th, but constant updates headed your way. Thanks again for being here with us. I deeply appreciate it. Island Fishing Tackle with my dear friend Sam De La Torre, who I saw yesterday at the CCA event. Great event. That was a lot of fun.
Beautiful day, good participation. You know, Michael Folks giving us the rundown of what he's doing. That was pretty cool too. It kind of gets me fired up to go ahead and get that subscription. So
yeah. Michael was great. It's always good to hear from him. Yeah. You know that whole story about my brother's bachelor party?
I didn't know. It was the first time you were talking about it.
That was crazy, man. Really crazy. It was insane. Like, we had all the Mexican guys on the boat. It took my brother and I maybe 30 seconds to start schmoozing them.
But also, too, even as I was hearing you talk about it, I feel like it was almost kind of more,
laid back,
reflective of the time.
Correct.
So that kind of stuff probably happened a little bit more than it does nowadays.
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah, and it was like, no big deal. No big deal.
And you guys didn't really have anything on board that you would, that would have caused them any concern either. So I'm pretty sure they saw it as like something that happened all the time and nothing they need to worry about.
All right. Hey, Halibut Man is saying hello. I'll read a couple comments. James Blanchard, who's sitting right here in front of us,
yes, sir,
walked up to me, handed me $50 we're raising money for Natalia, little girl with Down syndrome.
Okay.
James, love you. Thank you so very, very much. And thanks to everybody out there who's been donating. The donations have been fantastic. Appreciate that. Chuck Zimmer, the president of the Redondo Beach Rod and Gun Club, is going to give away, Chuck, you're going to have to write that up for me again. He's going to give away a free custom rod on a trip on the El Patron on an upcoming trip. He's just going to hand out raffle tickets to everybody who shows up and give away a beautiful rod. Nice. Celebrate his son Charlie's birthday that day.
Okay.
So that's coming up here pretty soon.
Cool.
And Halibut Man is saying hello. He wants to know why Michael Lamone is playing games on his phone while we're talking about fishing. That's his question.
I'm not playing games.
Well, what are you doing? I saw you playing games.
We're really busy on this.
You wouldn't lie now, would you? You would just say, yeah, I was playing games. I probably shouldn't do that. Or are you going to continue saying you weren't playing games?
I was looking for the video.
Oh, very good. Thank you. He's looking for the video, everybody. All right. The yellowfin tuna on the XL. Impressive. You saw that thing, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be in my opinion, kind of the news of Southern California sport fishing here for a couple of days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're not due back for a little bit, but I'm sure when that thing comes to the dock, it's going to be big news.
That's got to be exciting for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're heading out.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. That kind of fishing is something that you don't really can't really count on. The other stuff that they're getting for what you guys are going to get on your 8-day, I think, is going to be really the bulk of what most of the boats are going to want to kind of at least rely on being a staple. So, yeah, that big fish that they're getting down there, I think, is awesome. And, for the guys that get the opportunity to pull on one of those things, that's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, my God, that is really, really cool. Before we go any further, Sam, it is Veterans Day. I want to thank all the veterans out there for your great sacrifices in the greatest country on the face of the earth, the United States of America. As I said at the CCA event yesterday, that was fun to get the veterans to stand up and give them some richly deserved applause.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just kind of happened to land on that weekend, but it was kind of cool to be able to give those guys their flowers, man. It's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. We've got Isaac saying, "Good evening, Phil and Sam. Welcome back. Happy Veterans Day, everyone. Same to you, Isaac. Thank you for your service, my friend. Marine Corps' birthday yesterday. I know you were a Marine. That's awesome, Keith. Garrison, hi, Sam and Phil. What happened to my Apollo birthday trip this week? Very sad. Well, the weather got kind of nasty, and they thought, let's not go out there and get our butts kicked, Keith. So I'm sorry about that. We'll make that up to you somehow. I'll have Michael Limon, either Michael Limon or Scott Buger, give you a huge hug. I think that would be something that would not really assuage your sadness. Christopher. Hey, Chad, good to see you and good to see both of us again. Says Chad, happy Veterans Day. My dad, 3 uncles served. Thank them for their service, Chad. Really great. And Halibut Man says, nice haircuts, Phil. So did you get a haircut?
Not recently. But
Did you? Is that a haircut or you just did something with it?
I got a haircut. But
maybe he came in on a convertible or something.
Yo, did you?
Yeah.
Do you comb that with a shop vac or how do you do it?
what?
Floby, remember?
Floby, what was that? The Floby. Yeah, what was that?
It was that vacuum thing that had a
Yeah,
clipper attached to it. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Do you remember that when you're bald, they had that crap that you'd like spray paint? You'd spray that on your head and then that would
Fill it
look like
back
you had
in,
hair. Yeah. I wonder how much money they made on that crap. Probably tons.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Chuck is going on the El Patron November 23rd, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let's get the boat off the dock. www.longbeachsportfishing.org. I will be doing some promotion on the morning briefing tomorrow, Chuck. If you have anything else you want me to include in that, just let me know. And then we'll put together a little slide and throw that on social media and get that booked up. Way to go, Chuck, and happy early birthday to Charlie. We'll still, oh no, I'll be getting it. No, shoot, we get
You'll
in.
be out. Yeah, you'll be
When
out.
do you get in? What day?
It'll be on the Wednesday.
Okay, we get in on the Tuesday.
Tuesday,
I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll stay in San Diego with Scott and then welcome you when you come in the morning.
Yeah, if you want
I
to stay
wonder
down
when
there.
Justin comes in on that XL trip. I sent him a message and asked
Yeah,
him.
I think he's coming in Saturday.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might run down there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad to get that footage. I mean, it's going to be awesome. I'm sure that's going to be a big crowd checking that thing out. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I didn't see the rest of this. He's donating a 310 Rodworks custom built rod to one lucky passenger. I saw Darren yesterday at the CCA event. That is one cool rod for sure.
Yeah.
Darren's great.
Yeah, and he's got a good crew with those guys. Those guys were all down there supporting CCA and what we're trying to do. So that was cool to see them down there.
DJB, I have sad news. I don't think you're on this 8-day trip, but it's still sad for you because Scott Bucher tells me he's not going to provide a margarita bar, and DJB partook of Scott's just to make Scott feel good. He had 1 or 2 little margaritas and made Scott, and Scott says, no, I can't afford it. I'm not doing it.
I'm sure you can talk him into it.
And, hey, I want to bet on the game. Yeah, here's, he's got tons of money for that, but all right, let's see. We've got Chad Christopher. Chad again with that 448-pound YFT. What gear can you use to bring that in? Rod, reel, line. Sam?
Well, I mean, from what I saw in the report there, they actually got it on a relatively small reel on a Makira 20, which I don't know. I'd have to kind of see some details as to what they did to get that fish in so quickly. One of the things that people will say, and then very few people have had a chance of pulling on something that big, is that those bigger fish just don't have quite the stamina of like a 250-pounder or something like that.
Yeah.
200-pounder or something. So
I've heard guys use the analogy. It's like pulling on a guy like me or a teenager.
Exactly. So that being said, I mean, it's still a monster, and you would think you would need an 80 wide or something like that to land a thing like a fish like that. But apparently, from what I saw, the little that I've seen reported, it was caught on a Makira 20. I didn't know what rod it was, but I imagine it was a matching, railroad style rod or something rated, 80 to 130 or something like that. And he was using a harness, so didn't use the rail, which is part of the IGFA thing.
Yeah.
You have to kind of fight them that way. And so, so the gear that he was using was probably something that, in my opinion, he was real lucky to catch that fish, land that fish without any type of assistance. But that being said, I mean, whenever you're going to be going out there to hunt giants, I mean, I've been on the boat where a guy next to me hooked a fish on a Macara 50, which holds twice as much line just about, and just got straight spooled. I mean,
Yeah.
the fish never stopped.
Yeah.
And I hear that all the time, guys that hook a fish, and I've actually seen guys hook a fish on a reel like that Macara 20 or an international 20 or something along those lines, and just get spooled. I mean, they never stop the thing, never slow it down. So when you're down there targeting those fish, it'd be great to get a 500 pounder and the thing just swims right to the boat because it doesn't have any energy.
Yeah.
But more than likely, you're going to hook something that has a lot more energy, and you want to be prepared. So I would recommend really a size 20 would probably be the smallest reel I would recommend. A 30 would be more recommended. And then a 50, if you can get away with holding one of those 50s, which nowadays the newer 50s aren't quite as big as the old 50s are, but they're still a big reel. And so if you were going down on a trip like that targeting those big tuna, I would definitely have a 20, a 30, and a 50 as part of your gear and the rods to kind of go with it. I would have a rail rod 7.5 foot, something rated 60 to 130, 80 to 130 match with probably either of those rods. And you kind of hope for the best. After that, I mean, it's up to the fish whether they're going to come to the boat or not.
Yeah, that's for sure. DJB says, it seems like we haven't had a Tackle Shop Confessions episode forever. Welcome back, Sam.
It's been a while.
I know. I went to
5,
Florida.
6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Mackie was saying like 2 months.
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
I would say, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Too long. And then next week, we're not going to be on again, are we?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'll be gone Monday and you're
That's
leaving
it.
Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, but we'll have some awesome updates, and maybe you and I can communicate from boat to boat. And if you got anything going on, let me know, and we'll pump it up, man. We'll get you some updates from the Royal Star and the Independence. That should be a lot of fun. And James is going to be on this trip coming up. We're still waiting to hear whether Mackie's going to be on there filming or not. So hopefully that's going to happen also. Pumpkin Jones, the Navigante out of Redondo Beach, has just opened up Sam Dab Fishing. Let's go. Why not, right?
Yeah, that's a good deal. I think I saw a picture today on that, and tasty fish. It's not really a glamorous type of fishing.
It's really not.
You're kind of harvesting, but there is no limit. And guys go down there with the biggest gear you can kind of hold on to.
You fish like 50 hooks, can't you?
Yeah, probably as much hooks as you can get to where you can lift the thing over the boat,
Yeah, right.
You're going to have them laying out there like that and tangling people up. But it's a good eating fish. And so the guys that know about it, though, they're pretty dedicated sand dab guys.
They're totally into it.
Yeah, and they'll do that trip a few times a week if they could, just to load up the freezer. And so, for you guys that are looking for something to do, the only thing I would say is it's harvesting. You're using 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds of weight. You're getting down there, and it's hard to wind that thing up if you're using a smaller. It's not something you're going to use Alexa 400 on or something like that.
Electric reel time, right?
Yeah, those guys use electric reels, but I know guys use internationals, Tiagras. I mean, you name it. It's something that's got a lot of cranking power, at least if you're going to hand crank.
I know it's very popular with a lot of our Korean brothers and sisters.
Oh, yeah.
They love doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, fill the boat up.
Yeah.
Tom Durr told me he ran those trips, and he absolutely said the people were great. He loved doing it. But you're right, it is harvesting.
Yeah.
The other side of it is if you go to some restaurant, an upscale restaurant, order sand dabs, it's $35 for a plate or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 of those dumb things.
What you're going to get back, as far as if you want to look at it in those terms, is probably the most valuable trips we get all year. Is just for $1 per pound type of thing, because you can get so much.
No limit.
Those guys bring back 30, 40 pounds of those things at times, or maybe even more, I think. I mean, I've heard of guys going back where they can hardly lift the sack, that's like that much stuff in there. So it can be a lot of value in those terms. It's not a lot of fun, I would say, but it's definitely a lot of value. What you're going to bring back, you're going to eat, and it's going to be a lot of it.
Our studio audience is chuckling. I have no idea why. Do you?
I think I made the comment of the fun thing, but
I think so.
I guess you can make it fun. You go down there, catch one at a time, but I don't know. You want to go down there and load it up.
Yeah, don't you agree with that?
Yeah.
What is
That's
it?
Sand dabs.
Oh, hey, he's on it. All right, Calico Chris. Breaking news from Calico Chris. The Newport bait barge will be gone November 21st. Are they going to blow it up, or what's going on?
Maybe they're just going to redo it or something. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I would imagine.
All right, very good. Thank you for that update. Appreciate that very, very much. Halibut Man, Chad, with something that big, you need a built international and Hughes chucker rod.
Yeah.
Chunker rod.
What did he say? I missed it. Where's it at?
Halibut man, right below Calico Chris.
Oh yeah,
Something
yeah.
about that big. You
Huge
need
chunker rod, maybe just a big rod. Yeah.
yeah, big rail rod, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
well, I guess you're not using the rail, but yeah, something.
Well, that's what he. Yeah,
Heavy
he
duty.
didn't use the rail apparently, but
Yeah.
but he used the harness. But most guys are going to be using the rail.
All right. Well, Halibut Man, who is, of course, Michael Limon's friend and has mentored him for a long time. So Michael's really excited to be looking at that camera and waving at Halibut Man right now. I'm bringing chunker gear for my 10-day trip to be safe.
Chunker gear is what you want to have. Yeah.
Are you bringing it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
What?
For the sand dab, especially, man.
Sand dabs on the XL. Woo-hoo!
You never know when the sand dabs go wide open.
Robert Graber. Hey, Robert, love you. He's always sending me Go Irish stuff. And the Irish won yesterday, something like 50-something to 3. So I was happy with that. Good evening, Phil and Sam and Michael and the Friedman Adventures family. Welcome back. Tackle Shop Confessions. Happy Veterans Day. And thanks to all our veterans. Woo-hoo! Robert, thank you so very much. 50 people watching. They haven't gone anywhere. Sam, our audience is still intact. We will surge up to over 100 viewers here shortly. Calico Chris says, hi, everyone. Hey, guys. Can you put anchovies and sardines in the same bait tank with no problems?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's something that you have to kind of start thinking about more of the sardines. You know, they're the ones that are going to be taking a little bit more oxygen. And so you got to have the right amount of flow and things like that. So, although, you know, if your bait tank's super small, you know, I think you would probably beat up that anchovy pretty good. But a lot of times you're using that for chum bait more than you are hook bait. So you might be okay with that. But yeah, I would definitely, you know, when you're going to go get bait, those guys at the bait receiver are
They're really
pretty good.
Yeah.
About letting you know.
Ask them.
Yeah, ask them what you know, based on what you got, what you should have in there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and that's probably what I would right at that point is figure out based on what you have. You know, they may not be able to check your flow as far as your bait, you know, bait pump or something like that, but that usually is a big factor. But at least from the size, the volume of your bait tank, they're going to tell you, yeah, that's about it, man. Half a scoop's all you can take. Or,
Right.
oh man, you got a giant one. You get 2 scoops is good, you know. So, you know, they're not just going to try to sell you a bunch of bait and have it all die.
Yeah,
before
for
you
sure.
leave the harbor.
For sure. Good stuff. Yeah, guys like Mike out there at the San Pedro Bait Receiver, or Nacho, our buddy.
Yeah.
All those guys, they've been doing this for a long time, and they know exactly
and they build their
up.
business on that knowledge too. So sometimes they kind of even give you a little heads up. Is like, hey man, you guys go up here with this bait. You know, you guys will probably do pretty good, depending on what you're looking for. You know, ask those guys for advice. They get the intel just like we do, and I bet you a lot of times even more.
Hey, Sam, by the way, a guy on the freelance, I think it was, is heading out to the 14-mile bank, sent me a message that all we've seen the entire trip all the way out is anchovy. Albacore. Albacore. It's not, is it too early for me to make my
why not?
next year prediction?
You make it the next 10
I've
years.
made 4 predictions the last 4 years, and they've all been disasters. So might as well keep it going.
So basically what you're doing is you're only banking 4 predictions, because I know you've made them at least the last 8 years.
Yeah.
So every 4 years, you're just only keeping the last 4.
Yeah, we don't talk about the previous 4. I'm going to try to get it down to 2.
Yeah.
I've only made 2. I've only been wrong 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Michael, you got to go through the YouTube videos and get rid of all the predictions. The previous predictions. All right, very good. Isaac says, is tying on a second rod and throwing the first rod overboard a thing anymore, a thing of the past? That's a good question, because you just mentioned some guys get spooled.
Yeah, so it's still something that happens, not quite as often, you know. I mean, that's something that kind of went away with Spectra, you know, whereas before we used to have a reel that would hold about 400 yards, 400 to 500 yards. That's pretty rare nowadays. Most of these big reels that we're fishing, they're holding 800 yards and things like that, 700 yards. And also, too, the braid, because it doesn't stretch as much, we're using a little bit more drag on the reel, on the fish as well. So we're stopping these fish a lot quicker. But like I was mentioning earlier, you hook that 250-pounder that's kind of just a really, really healthy fish, and you might burn off 600 yards like no problem. And I've seen that happen. So the backup rods are still a part of the gear that the boat will have. They just don't have as many. You know, back in the day, they might have 10 or 12 of those things on the boat. Now, maybe 2 or 3. And even then, they probably only use it once or twice a year.
Yeah. Just a funny note, everybody, Sam's closed for Veterans Day. Opens up the door, like, so we can set up, and boom!
Yeah.
Clients walk in the door right away,
Yeah.
man. That is awesome. If you haven't been to Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, you owe it to yourself. to come by. And of course, during Christmas, you're going to be able to load up with all the great gifts that the fishermen in your life will want. Sam will talk a little bit more about his hours and everything. Oh, talk about it right now. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, well, first of all, I apologize to you guys that maybe came to the door earlier today. I saw there was a lot of missed calls on the phone there, so I apologize for that. But it was just kind of a family day for us, and we kind of just got together. Pretty rare for us to have a day off where the kids are off, my wife's off, and we can close the doors and we have a holiday. So we took the day to just kind of hang out together, and so I apologize to you guys. But normally we are open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. With the exception of some holidays. So come Thanksgiving we'll be closed. We'll probably be open the day before Thanksgiving, but we'll most likely for sure we'll be open the day after Thanksgiving for the Black Friday sale. So we'll have that going, and then once we get into Christmas, we'll probably be closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas as well.
All right, very good. Hey, I want to thank the sponsors of our 8-day trip coming up. Sam De La Torre, a great sponsor. Daiwa just sent me a photo of some great stuff I need to go out and pick up. We've got Steve Oropeza and Promar. Really grateful to them. Of course, Young's Fishing Tackle in Bellflower. And also in Seal Beach, we've got Big Fish Bait and Tackle. And we still have some more stuff coming in. Sam, thank you. And thank all of our great sponsors for making this 8-day trip one that is going to be one to remember. I think Halibut Man has figured it out. He's not throwing a rod over. He'd rather throw a kid like Michael Limon over before he throws his beloved gear over. Yeah, right on. I'm with you. Jolene Thompson retracted a message. Must have been something bad about Michael Limon. Actually, I saw it and she said, hi, Phil and Sam. So no idea why she retracted it. Hi, Jolene. We'll see you a week from today on board the Independence. Really looking forward to fishing with you. Pumpkin Jones, our sand dab expert, is back. That's why I got an electric reel Shimano Horse Master.
Probably Beastmaster, yeah.
Beastmaster 9000. Put some respect on the sand dab fisherman's name.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all for it.
That's I imagine we're going to kind of get a run on that. For those sand dab guys, a lot of those guys already have them. They've been doing this for years now, and electric reels aren't new, but if you happen to go check out a sand dab trip or maybe even see a report, I bet you'll see a lot of electric reels on the boat.
Yeah, heck yeah. All right, man, we have just so many questions. We're trying to catch up. A lot of people watching the show. It's great to be back, Sam, here with Tackle Shop Confessions. Miss doing it. Travis Bright says, Michael checked out already? Yeah, he lasted about 30 seconds tonight. Now he's just totally left, so who knows what. Barbara Rivera, Michael Limon's mother. Hey, Barbara, it is great to see you. But we need to see you down on the beach surf fishing with us one of these days, really, really soon. Thanks for joining us. Michael took off for a little while. Hopefully he'll be back. Tyler Tanaka. Tyler, you are the man. Always so encouraging, so positive. Love you, man. Yes, you're back together. Hello, Friedman Adventure family. Gratitude to all veterans. That's what I mean about his positivity. Good stuff. Let's get more details on that 448-pound yellowfin tuna. That just went down today. So Sam already, if you have any more details, I'm sure you'd share them. Now. Yeah, that's about all.
I'm sure they're going to be coming out. There's going to be some stories about it and things like that coming through, I think, as we go. And so we'll see. That fish is going to land on Saturday. So we'll get more about it at that time, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Halibut Man has a theory about Michael Limon tonight. He thinks he's tying his shoes all night long. That's what he's doing. Yeah, you put your shoe up so people can see that.
I know my dip boots on.
Yes, we know. Can you put a boot up there, or is that too high for you to do? Go ahead. There you go. Oh, sorry. It's not that. It's something else, Mitchell. We're all trying to figure this out.
Are those the shoes that Doug bought you? The boots?
Are they? Yeah. Doug Tilk. Is Doug Tilk out there watching? Man, we miss Doug Tilk. I haven't seen Doug for a long time. I haven't seen all these guys, man. I miss these guys.
Yeah.
Jolene Thompson is back. Are the Wahoo in our window on the 8-day trip? I can't wait for our departure next Monday. Absolutely. Let's sneak Michael Limon on the trip.
Someone could put me in a bag.
We could put you in a bag, a suitcase.
Sneaking him on the
James,
boat's
what do you
gonna
got? You got
be
something we can put him
sneaking him
in?
on the boat's gonna be the easy part. Sneaking him out of the house is gonna be the hard part.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, if anybody's sneaking on that trip, it's
Yeah.
Dan.
Getting him
He's
on the
gonna
boat's
go.
easy. They got a lot of room on that boat.
Dan was already, in case something came up with Mackie where Mackie couldn't make it, Dan was practicing his filming technique and
Okay,
everything.
okay.
He was going to bring a phony camera just so, hey, I'm filming.
Mackey's on the trip.
Hopefully.
Woo.
We're waiting to hear.
We need him on there.
We're
Yeah.
waiting for
It's a
the.
good luck charm from what I hear.
Huh?
Good luck charm.
Yeah,
For
absolutely,
long
man.
trips, man.
We had some really good trips this year. We had great trips and great weather.
Yeah. That's why. Yeah.
Because Mackie was there. There you
Yep.
go. Have you ever been out on a really rough trip? Yeah.
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 Growing up everywhere.
Oh, that's right.
that's
Yeah.
that's
No,
right.
but one of our trips?
No.
Oh, okay. That was on Pride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So Wahoo for sure. For
Yes.
sure
Let's
on
get
your
back to
menu.
Jolene's question.
Yeah. So Wahoo for sure on your menu. I know that it kind of took a little bit of a dip here a couple weeks ago. It seems like it's back up again this week. That Wahoo is kind of a little bit more of a kind of hit and miss type of species. You get them one day, you don't get them the rest. But the part that makes it kind of a more of a for sure thing in a way is that the tuna has really come roaring back. That kind of did go away as well with the
It
Wahoo
did.
with that weather. And not that they weren't catching any fish, they just weren't catching the big ones. So when you get those big ones, guys kind of fill their tags real quick. You get 5 or 6 of those 60 to 80 pounders, you're kind of done. Whereas the little 20 to 30 pounders, you're going to need to get 15 of those to get your fill. So sometimes with those smaller fish, you're chasing them for a couple of days, whereas that bigger fish, potentially you can make do with a day and a half, and then you go out and look for Wahoo the rest of the time. So I would imagine for sure you want to make sure you bring all your Wahoo gear, especially on this 8-day. That's going to be, I would think, almost the primary species right behind the yellowfin.
Sam, you're trolling around for Wahoo out there by the rocks or wherever you get a jig strike. What do you do as an angler who's not trolling? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of have to kind of read the room a little bit and kind of see what's been going on. If it's the first jig strike of the day and you don't have any data to go on, you're throwing a jig in the water right away. Now, they're going to give you guys a speech at the beginning of the trip and kind of give you an idea of how they want you to do it. If like for our group, we kind of already have a program, but with you guys being a newer group, they're going to probably want you to do it a certain way, or they might just say, be safe about it,
Combat fishing.
Yeah. So until that happens, you'll kind of have to see the order of which how you're going to do it. But if it was me and I was on your trip going into it, you want to have at least 2 jig rods tied up, meaning either 2 with the bomb or a bomb and a raider or whatever, whatever you happen to have as your Wahoo jigs. Have 2 tied up ready to go. The reason for 2 is that a lot of times when you get in the water, I shouldn't say a lot of times, but occasionally when you get in the water, first thing is you start hooking fish. Sometimes you get bit off or sometimes you get into a tangle or things like that. And the last thing you want to do is go back and having to retie a new top shot or something like that. So if you're going to be of that kind of mindset that you really want to hook a lot of fish, you got to get in the water quick. But you also kind of go in there knowing that you're going into a more dangerous situation and you might lose your jig or your top shot or something like that. So first thing is get in the water right away. And what I mean by right away, I mean you're literally standing with your rod right next to the troll, that troll position. So right in the corner of each corner, you want to be the first guy there, first lady there, and you have your jig in your hand. I mean, literally, even the motion of taking the jig, and unhooking it from your rod, it happens every time where when it happens and you're ready to go, that thing gets stuck and you can't get it out and the guy behind you casts ahead of you.
And he's bit.
And well, not only is he bit, but he's going to be further down. And now you got to hopscotch behind anybody who cast it in front of you. So whoever gets in the water first, their jig's going to be sliding back because the boat's moving forward. And so they're going to end up in front of you. And you got to, if you cast after them, you got to get behind them. And they're going to be in the pole position, so to speak.
Yeah.
So getting in the water right away and whatever you got to do to do that. Now, you may just have your jig hanging, although that's kind of a little bit dangerous. You might lose sight of it, or you start talking to somebody, or the boat turns around or something like that, and it catches a wake or something like that, and you don't want to have that jig flying around. So I'll literally have it in my hand with the rod on the deck, ready to go. So as soon as the jig gets bit, you bring your rod up and you just cast right in. You're going to want to cast perpendicular to the way you're trolling, to the direction you're trolling. Perpendicular, just kind of stay away as best you can from those trolling jigs. A lot of times guys will say, well, you don't need to cast for a Wahoo. And once those jigs are out of the water, the trolling jigs are out of the water, once the boat's, if it's still sliding forward, you could probably just drop your jig straight down and get into a decent angle. But until those jigs are trolled in or wound in, you want to cast as far away as you can from them so you don't tangle them up. The last thing you want to do is tangle a fish that's already on a troll rod
Yeah.
and make them lose that
Yeah,
fish.
right.
It'd probably be your last turn at being the first person in the water. So you want to do that. So that's the first thing you want to do. As the day goes along, let's just say you guys are getting a troll strike, but no jig fish. Over and over, you get a troll strike, no jig fish. Troll strike, no jig fish. So it seems like the only way you're going to get them is on the troll, but that's probably where you go and try to fish a bait. So same thing kind of applies. You want to get in the water quick, but obviously you can't cast a bait out as far as you're going to cast a jig. So you might have to wait till those troll fish are in, but you're going to want to put your bait in right as that fish is getting, gaffed and put on the boat. You want to get in the water right away. A lot of times when those wahoo are coming up, they're going to be chasing and biting some of those trolling jigs almost to where, right next to the boat. So you do stand a chance of getting one of those stragglers off of the troll with a live bait.
Yeah.
And so obviously with the wire leader, and that might be another way as the day goes along, and if it looks like they're not biting as good. But the first bite of the day, I'm throwing a jig in.
All right, perfect. Yeah. Good advice, Jolene. James, we'll be following that advice in just a few more days. Chad, Christopher, Sam, my largest reel is an Abbott JSK. I want to gift myself something larger for the bluefin tuna. Budget rent rod is about $1,000. What do you recommend?
Yeah, you're gonna have quite a few options in that price range. If you like the Abbott, that HX Wide Raptor is a nice reel. They're about $500. And there's a lot of rods in that $350 range. You add that with some line and tax, you're going to be under $1,000 for sure. If you're not buying it right away, like this big bluefin really isn't biting right now. They are catching some school-sized bluefin, but doesn't seem like that's what you're talking about as far as your larger bluefin. I would wait around till this Black Friday sale. We're going to be having some discounts. I know almost every shop is. But I know it'll save you at least $100 or more, depending on what you get, maybe $200.
Very cool.
And so it might give you some more options as well. Even maybe something you can go with like a Shimano or a Penn or something like that. But if you're liking the Abbotts, the reel that I would be looking at would be that HX Wide Raptor. As far as the rods, there's going to be quite a few choices. Daiwa makes a good one, Shimano makes a good one, and you'll be stretching your budget a little bit. You go with one of the bigger brands like a United Composites or a CalStar or Seeker or something like that. You'd be stretching your budget a little bit with that. But with that sale coming up, that might bring that back into your budget. So as far as the reel, that'd be the one I'd be looking at, though.
All right, hang on for Black Friday, everybody. It's going to be huge. Chuck Zimmer. Do you know somebody named Harry? You remember a guy named Harry? Well, Chuck seems to be upset with you. He says Harry is waiting for you to complete your hunter's education. For God's sakes, Michael, give that man a call and get it done. You know who Harry is?
Oh, Santa Claus.
Oh, is that him?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it is. Is he the gun guy? The Santa Claus guy? Okay. Yeah, we went there, and this guy's kid deserves a gold medal. This guy was walking around the corner, and I was hiding in a bush, and I was going to scare the hell out of this guy. And his kid tells it. My kids would have oh, man, they would have let me gone down the drain. But, yeah, good guy. Okay, yeah, Santa Claus needs you to give him a call and finish up your thing. All right, we'll do that, Chuck. Isaac, Sam, with Christmas coming up, any hot new gear or stuff coming up that we need to put on Santa's list?
Just depends on kind of what you're after. The biggest news at the end of this year that we kind of had, nothing new for Christmas specifically, but the things that have become available. The Shimano Talicas, the new Talicas in the 12, the 16, and the 20 and 25. That's been kind of the big deal as far as a release from on the reel side. As far as the rods, there really hasn't been anything new. I would say the biggest thing is just going to be some deep discounts. I think that everybody is going to be doing the same thing like I was saying earlier as far as offering some type of promotion or discount. I know I was talking with Steve at ProMar, and we might even do like a free fluorocarbon top shot with any reel that you're going to get, filled up with. So
Steve is good for something.
Yeah. So for you guys that are maybe going to do a Spectra fill, like if you buy a reel, you're going to get brand new Spectra, you'll get free fluorocarbon top shot. But if you even want to bring in a reel that you want to just get ready for next year and get that filled up with braid, you'll get a free fluorocarbon top shot with that. So that's something they're going to be doing this year, and I think that we're going to be maybe planning to do that, next year too. Maybe a few dates, kind of special dates with ProMar. Yeah.
All right, awesome. That sounds fantastic.
Come in and get ready, full speed. Yeah.
Ken Trenholm. Ken, it's great to see you, my friend. He says hello, Friedman Adventures family. Phil, Mom says hello. I give my very best to you and your mother, Ken. Can't wait for another trip next year. This guy, I think he's our good luck charm too, Mackie. Ken is on some really extraordinary trips, no question about it. Kim Herbert. Hey, Kim, great to see you. Thank you for being with us tonight. What is Michael's biggest fish lately? Michael, what's your biggest fish lately? I guess in the last couple of months.
Maybe that sand bass.
Yeah, that's
No, I think, but you've been out catching bluefin and stuff, haven't you, with Grandpa?
Yeah, but she
The
said,
sand bass was bigger than the bluefin? Oh,
she said
she said?
Lately.
lately.
Oh, lately. Well, how long ago was that? Wasn't like a couple months ago?
Yeah, that was the tuna was longer already.
Oh, okay.
What'd you catch this week? Or last week?
Yeah, what'd you catch last week?
Where did we go last week?
We'll work on that and
Yeah.
get back to you in just a moment, Kim. Tyler Tanaka, what's your over-under? Hey, that's good. I like this. I can tell you right now, man, Tennessee, Bama next week. I love the under. Woo! Man, Nico might be hurt, so jump on that under before they say he's hurt and they drop that under. Get on that. Tyler, my kid, Patrick's got me watching college football like crazy now. Did you know when I got to Florida, we picked 10 games, bet a parlay, and caught that?
Really?
We hit all 10 games.
Jeez.
We went till 2:30 in the morning because over there
Yeah.
to our last game, and the app was sending Patrick a message saying, "We'll buy you out for $1,000." He goes, "Dad, what do we do?" I go, "Patrick, we can't lose taking the money. We're riding it to the."
Yeah.
And it was Hawaii against Boise State. Boise was favored by 30 points, and it was like 7-7 at halftime. I'm going, this is driving me insane. And anyway, they blew them out, but oh my God. All right. The over-under. What's the over-under? Losing 3 pounds by the time it's doc certified, and will they gill and gut it and to try to beat the record? So they're not going to do any of that until after. I'm going to put the over-under on, what did they say it is, 448?
Yeah.
I'm going to put the over-under at 450.
Yeah, that's pretty
450,
safe.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to bet, because I think that last one that they had on that boat, that 445, David Perdue, I think I talked to Justin when he was on the XL during that. I'm trying to remember. I think he was telling me, Phil, this is for sure. Yeah, he was. He's pretty good at this. So I bet it's over. I bet it's 450 something. That's my bet. I'm over on that. Leave a comment. You can go over or under.
It's so hard when they're that big, man. I mean, they can lose 5-6 pounds like nothing, or gain.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
take
hard to
the under in the Tennessee game. I think it's Tennessee, Bama. All right, let's see. Where are we here? We are now where Doug Tilk, he came out. Doug, it's great to hear from you. Hey, boys, I wasn't the boot buyer. Someone else hooked Michael up. That was Dan and Kim in San Diego.
Oh, that's right.
That's right?
I think so.
Dan and Kim in San Diego. Lovely people, just like Doug. So generous and great, and I love all those people. Enjoying the show. Hello to everyone. Mackie, Dan, and Michael, wishing great fishing to all. Doug, let's get together before I take off on this 8-day trip. Would love to see you. Tyler Tanaka, yeah, sage advice, Tyler. Remind everybody to search on our YouTube channel. So go to Friedman Adventures, and the little magnifying glass you can put in there, Wahoo fishing with Sam De La Torre. Because we did a whole thing.
We did, yeah.
Down at 22nd Street. It was great. It got a ton of views.
Pretty extensive, I think. So, yeah, you should be checking that out if you have any questions.
I'll post that on our social media tomorrow on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. But you can search it tonight if you really want to check it out. Jonathan Mays. Hey, Jonathan, what's happening? Man, that was an epic catch. Proud to have been an eyewitness.
Oh, wow.
You were there, Jonathan? Wow. What can you tell us?
Yeah.
If there's anything else you can tell us about the catch or anything else, man, that would be great. I'd love to talk to you tomorrow also and hook up with you to do some kind of a live interview. But way to go, man. Thanks for sharing that. Jose Guevara says, Sam, when finesse fishing for bluefin and they are only biting 25 to 30 pound line, what's a good small reel with a light spool and plenty of line capacity to help the bait swim and pull line?
Well, Jose, that's kind of like you're asking for two things. Something that is little but holds a lot. It's like asking, what's a 4-cylinder that can tow a fifth wheel or something like that, So, granted, when you're fishing finesse in this 25, 30 pound test, it's still not too bad, 25, 30 pound test. You can still get away with like a Saltiga 20 or a Talica 10 or a Fathom or Torque 15. All those reels will fish that size line pretty good. What you might think of doing is having a reel where you might have a little bit lighter braid, whereas normally on a lot of these reels we're going to have 65-pound. With 25, 30-pound, maybe 50-pound or even 40-pound braid might be something that's going to gain you capacity on the same size reel. So all of those reels there, depending on what you have on there. Also, too, maybe you're going to fish a little bit shorter top shot, too. Instead of doing a long mono top shot that's going to eat up some of your capacity, you might consider filling that thing up so you get that extra 100 yards or something like that. So all those reels will probably do that. I personally still, if I think there's bigger fish around, fish over 100 pounds, I probably would still fish the more medium-sized reel like a Torque 25 or a Talica 12 or something like that. I still feel like you can fly line the bait pretty good with that. Just make sure your reel service real well. It has good free spool. If your reel's in good shape, even those larger reels still fly line pretty good. But if you're really looking at finesse in something, like I said, that Saltiga 20, that Talica 10, or that Torque or Fathom 15, 2-speed.
All right, great. Mackie just put a link up in comments, everybody.
Okay.
So you can click on that and go straight to Sam's great Wahoo video on Friedman Adventures. Really worth your time, especially if you have an 8 or 10-day trip coming up, or you just want to learn more about Wahoo fishing. It's worth your time to check it out. Mackie, thank you so much. TJB, the Margarita Man, who really appreciated Scott Butchert. Thank God there's one person who appreciates him.
Yeah, well, margaritas will do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. Absolutely. That's the only thing that'll do it. Just wanted to give a shout out, says DJB, to Captain Shane Tushin on the Searcher. On his first long range 8-day trip as the head skipper, hold on one second, he put us on great fishing, including my personal best yellowtail, which, as I remember, was 61 pounds, 63 pounds. Is that right, DJB? Do I have that right? Big pressure, and he delivered. Man, that's great to see a kid come out of the gate like that and boom, knock it out of the park. Great. Fantastic. Live free, die free. Evening, my brother. Good evening to you. Hello, Phil, Sam, and Michael, and the Friedman Adventures family. Isaac says he's taken the over 450 pounds. Tyler Tanaka is in Knoxville, Tennessee, so he's all over the balls. He's going to be watching that game for sure, I'm sure. And Arturo wants to know, what about those Dodgers, man, Sam?
That was awesome, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
When it was 5-0 in that game, I was like, okay, well, they lost this game. And then that pitcher didn't cover first base.
Yeah, that I mean, to me, we have a couple baseball guys here that work here, and we've gone around this thing here a million times. But, I mean, I feel like that was, just a sign of maybe feeling like they didn't need to try anymore, like they had it in the bag. And he definitely had a chance to make it, in my opinion, had a chance to make it. I know that it's kind of back and forth online and wherever you talk about it, but he definitely didn't make an effort, for sure. He was walking straight to the dugout as far as the angle that I saw and that most people see, I think. And he thought it was over, And it almost was. I mean, if he would have hit that ball and that ball would have went a different way or whatever, yeah, he could have been. But, in a World Series situation, third out of the inning, bases loaded, you kind of have to make that your first priority, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just fundamental baseball. Poor guys. You hate to see a team go down that way.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show that, even in a sport like that, the little things, kind of really, really, really matter. So, and it did that game, that inning.
I mean,
crazy.
You would, like, if you were coaching a Little League game, you would chew out the pitcher like, hey, you got to cover first base, dude. And
especially a guy
on that big stage.
Well, and the thing, too, is this guy who is so dominated. I mean, for almost, you would think, and it's easy to look at this in hindsight, but you would think almost that if they wouldn't have won that game, it would have been tough for them to win 3 games in a row. That wasn't really something that I think, or 2 more games in a row. I don't think that was something that was going to happen, if they didn't win that game. So, I mean, I don't know. To me, I feel like it was definitely a missed opportunity by New York. If they would have won that game, I think that they were going to come to LA with a lot of momentum. And the Dodgers really kind of, in a way, kind of spent their pitching staff spent a little bit, So, not that Yamamoto wasn't going to pitch a great game, but I mean, he was going to face the biggest game of his life, and in any pitcher, especially when that team's already seen you a couple times, you're just not going to be as effective typically.
That's right.
So not to say that he wasn't going to do well. He's an ace, and He's a guy who obviously performed really well, but these Yankees had so much. It seemed like they were getting on a roll where they were almost unstoppable.
Yeah.
And especially with Cole, I mean, he pretty much shut us out.
Yep.
And they just they had opened the door and we just walked right in. So, a shame for them for not doing that. And I'm sure they're gonna think about that for the rest of their lives. Which is the hard part, and that's gonna happen. But that's sports. That's baseball.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Arturo. Let's see. How about Chad Christopher with an unbelievable super chat, $50. Buy chicken wings for a vet tonight. We're going for chicken wings. Are you a vet, James? James is a vet.
Oh, he's getting some wings.
What branch of the service were you in?
Oh, no.
Oh, you weren't?
Navy.
All right, his son's
son.
in the Navy. That's
Yeah.
close enough.
All right.
Yeah, right? Hey, Chad, thank you. That really means a lot to all of us. Thank you so much, especially Michael Limon. I guarantee you that means a lot for him. You have to join the military when you grow up now.
Yeah.
Or you don't get any chicken wings, man. Man, really, really appreciate that.
He's got
Thank
about
you
300 wings in the bank already.
so much. And how about DJB
Wow.
with another $50 super chat? You guys, I'm maybe not going to go back to China and teach. You're making this pretty lucrative for me here. Hey, DJB, you are the man. I totally enjoyed spending time with you on an absolutely brutal 5-day trip if you want to talk about just the weather and the fishing. But we made the best of it and had a really great time, and you were a big part of that. You and Scott Buchert. I hate to throw you in that company, but man, with you two and the rest of the people who were on that trip, it was really a lot of fun. Live free, die free. Sam, what's your thoughts on the Penn Fathom 47-1 for who?
So yeah, that's a
little
real
too speedy or not?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, in my opinion, it's not really necessary. That reel was kind of intended for other kinds of fishing they do in the Gulf. I think that they do some of that light line fishing for what's the fish down there? It's kind of like a wahoo. It's like a
Sierras?
no, it's king mackerel.
Oh,
Yeah.
what are you talking? Yeah.
Yeah, in the Gulf there, and Florida as well.
Yeah.
And so it's not a reel that's kind of made to bring in a heavy fish. Not that the wahoo fight real hard, and I think that the reel would probably work in most situations. I just think that that larger handle with that larger that gear ratio is you're just not going to be able to wind it as fast as long. What's going to happen with that reel is that because it is going so fast, that first couple casts it is going to wind fast, and you're probably going to outwind the next guy. But because there's going to be a little bit more resistance when you turn the handle, you're probably going to run out of gas. It's the same concept like if you have a pickup truck, put some big tires on it, you're just going to your fuel efficiency is going to go down. It's going to think, well, it should go up because the way it works, but your engine's working harder, so your arm's going to be working harder.
Yeah.
Turning that handle. So, in my opinion, if it's something you've been using for a few years already, and your engine has kind of been built up, then yeah, that'll probably be okay. But for most of us with a regular sized engine, you're just going to run out of juice. It'd be the same thing like your truck. You could put a supercharger and probably overcome that, and you probably get your mileage back. But we're just not built that way. We just can't add on some muscle like that. So it really depends on you. If you got a really good strong shoulders, strong arms, you can probably overcome that and keep that speed up all day. But for most people, I think that you run out of energy pretty early because you're going to start wahoo fishing 6 in the morning at daybreak. They might not bite till 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, right.
And that's when you need the speed, but you've been winding all day. So by the time that comes, you're going to be a lot slower than when you started. So
that all makes sense.
It's definitely a reel that maybe is a consideration, but I wouldn't make it my only reel. More like a Trinidad 20 or a Fathom, 25 narrow star drag, or a Saltis 35 or Saltis 40. A star drag reel is all you need. Those fish, they're huge, and sometimes you get a fish that's going to fight you a little bit, but it's really like fighting a big yellowtail, really, as far as, and maybe not even that much, but speed and having the speed to hook the fish in the beginning, that's a bigger concern. But it's also something you want to do throughout the day. You want to make a lot of cash. You want to make, that's going to get you more fish, and so
it's a numbers game.
It's a volume thing.
Yeah.
It's a numbers thing, so if you're making, 30 casts in a day because you're using this high speed reel, but you're making 60 casts because you're using a more efficient reel, you're just going to catch twice as many fish because you're in the water twice as much. So
makes sense.
That's the way I would approach it.
Tyler Tanaka wants to salute Chad Christopher for his awesome gesture and generosity. Once again, thank you guys, Chad and DJB. $50 super chats from our dear friends. That is beyond incredible. Trout Liquor 999. I saw you posted a video about that striper. Scott thought it was a stripper, and he wanted to know why I was posting about strippers. That was caught on the Seal Beach Pier yesterday. Did you know that it was snagged? So I didn't, but Mackie walked up to me today and he goes, "Hey, did you see all that stuff on your post, man? Everybody's arguing about." I'm like, "No, I didn't go back and look at that crap. I did know that. I still don't know that. You may have been there and shot some video of it, so you can supply us with it. All I know is my really dear friend Matt Schlurf, who worked for the FBI and a cop, he said that the guy fly lined a yellowfin croaker, dead yellowfin croaker, and caught it. Now, I don't know if Matt witnessed it or the guy told him that. Does it matter? I guess you can't snag these things. Is that what the thing is?
Oh,
Not
no,
supposed
you
to?
can snag anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. You got me, Trout Liquor. You can fill me in if you saw something and you feel compelled to bring it to everyone's attention. We're all ears here. We're all about the truth. Isaac says, "You two are awesome."
All right.
Is he talking about us or DJB and
Maybe the snagging part.
Chad? Yeah, maybe the guy that snagged the whatever he snagged, the stripper. Scott thinks he snagged a stripper.
Oh,
I hope
man.
they took that poor woman to the infirmary. All right, Chuck Zimmer. What is the largest inside diameter hypalon that you carry? Boy, this is a little inside baseball. I tried to slide a 3/4 on and fought it fair.
Yeah. Well, we got to be fair when you fight.
What does that
This
mean?
guy here. So, Chuck, I think it's a 3/4 about the biggest that we can get. I think they do make a 1 inch, but I will tell you this, Chuck. It sounds to me, depending on what you're trying to put it on, that maybe you may have not been using the right chemicals or something might have gone wrong in your application of that hypalon. Even a 1/2 inch hypalon, 1/2 inch inside diameter will go down on a rail rod if you use the right stuff. So, come to the shop or have some more details about what you're putting it on. Put that on here. Or if not, come down to the shop and we can kind of show you how to put that on there. Putting on hypalon is one of those things that it's easy to do if you do it right. If you don't do it right, it can seem like it's the hardest thing in the world to do. But if you do it right, it's actually pretty easy. There are a few factors involved that will make it easier. But like I said, if you do it right, it should be no problem. One of the things you want to make sure you do is you coat the whole blank all the way down with the paste epoxy that you're going to be installing that with. So if that's something that you did, there might have been something else going on. It's hard to say without really seeing what you did. But if you're still having trouble with that, come on down, bring the blank down, and we'll put that rear grip on for you, no problem.
Hey, I wonder if these super chats are like a numbers game, like the casting also. If so, let's stay on till midnight. We've been on less than an hour. We got $100.
Yeah.
So another hour, get another 100. We stay on 8 hours. We get $800 tonight. And Michael Limon can have chicken wings coming out his ears. Yeah. Jeez. All right. Maybe we'll have to just keep going here tonight. All right. We're out of questions for a second. Ton of people. Ed, who was at the event, and he's going to be on this trip. Jolene, they want to know what are the essentials if you're going on an 8 to 11 day trip, since you're going to be on an 11.
So for you guys, this trip, I mean, it's a little bit of variety of gear. If this big fish keeps biting, how it's been, now big fish being like that rich fish, normally is like a 20 to 30 pound fish. Now it's like a 50 to 80 pound fish. And they're biting really good, typically those rich fish will bite pretty good no matter what the size is. So you don't really have to finesse a whole lot. But in years past, when it's all school-sized fish, I'll take a lightweight rod, kind of just to have fun, One of the things that you run into with that fish down there is you can tag all your fish, or at least all you want to bring home pretty quickly, So, you go down there and they tell you're going to, fish for 2 days down there. You might tag all you want in a couple hours. So you can just go back and go to sleep and read a book, which is fine. It's your trip. You do whatever you want. But if you want to keep fishing but don't want to tag anything, you could use 80 pound and keep bringing them in and just cut them off next to the boat, or you can use some lighter gear. So that's where the lighter gear might come in as far as your tackle. It's not going to be a requirement to catch fish. I don't think you're going to run into a situation where if you didn't have 25 pound, you didn't tag anything. So I would start out really about 40 pound test as far as what you got to have. So got to have you looking at 40 pound to 80 pound live bait gear. So anything that's going to be a 7 to 8 foot rod, 2-speed reel, 40 to 80 pound. That's going to be your essentials as far as your tuna fishing. As far as your wahoo fishing, a jig rod. I like using a longer rod, but honestly, anything from 7 to 9 foot would work. And a reel size, a medium reel size, that's going to be like I was mentioning earlier, like a Trinidad 20, Torium 20 type size, or like a Saltis 35, Saltiga 35, or 40 size reel. A star drag is plenty, and that's what I would have. And I would have at least 2 of those set up all the time. And that's the reason being, like I mentioned earlier, is that with this wahoo fishing, when it gets good, it can get pretty wild. Where you get sawed off or something like that, or maybe your wahoo jig gets bit off. Even with wire, sometimes they'll bite you off. You use 90-pound wire. I don't know how they do it, but you come back with just the end of a wire. So the last thing you want to do is take a bunch of time having to re-rig. And a lot of times when that wahoo does want to bite, it might bite hot and heavy for like 10 minutes.
And then that's
And
it.
then it slows down
Yeah.
or it goes away and you go chasing them again. So the quicker you can get back in the water after something like that does happen, the better off you're going to be. So I would bring a couple of jig rods for that. And that's really going to be the extent of it. You can also bring a heavier yo-yo outfit or dropper loop outfit. Sometimes you guys will do some both some yellowtail fishing on the dropper loop and maybe even some grouper fishing. And then you might use something like that. And it's going to be more like your big bluefin gear with a rail rod and something you have 100 or 130 pound braid, big 2-speed reel as big as you got. So you can also use that same rig to troll with. So that might be your troll rig, and then that'll also be your dropper loop rig, and then maybe even something that you would use for those groupers. So don't go down there thinking that you're not going to use that big rig. You can put it to use. Now you don't have to. A lot of times, boats will have a troll rod with you on the boat, and they can provide for you. But I like using my own, especially if I brought it down there. And then that's as far as your rods and reels. As far as your hook sizes, I would say you probably want to start out at about a 2.0 to about a 5.0 hook. And I would bring circle hooks and also J hooks. Some of that tuna down there, like I said earlier, you really don't have to use a J hook or a circle hook or a J hook. I mean, you can probably go either way. They bite so good. With that wahoo, a lot of times a J hook is better on the wire leader. You want to be able to have as much point exposure as possible because those things will come around and slash at your bait. And so if you can hook them without requiring it to come into their corner or something like that, that's usually a little bit better for the wahoo. And then also the yellowtail. If you guys do some yellowtail fly line fishing, I just like using a J hook. So 2.0 to 5.0 and your circle hooks and J hooks. And then maybe even bring one bigger hook like a 6.0 or 7.0, maybe even an 8.0 that you might use for your dropper loop fishing and maybe even for your fishing for your grouper. Sinkers, you're going to do like some egg sinkers, not a whole lot, but everything from like a 1/2 ounce to an ounce. And then I'll bring one bigger one, like a 6-ounce one. And that'll be on the grouper side. Your torpedo sinkers, everything from like a 4 ounce. A 4 ounce is going to be what you kind of use for your sabiki, making bait if you guys make bait. And then a heavier, you could probably jump all the way to like a 12 and a 16 ounce, which you would do your yellowtail fishing or something like that. Fluorocarbon would be the same, would apply from like 40 to 80 pound. I think you would be for sure you got to have. But if you want to do some of that fun fishing or get a little bit more challenging, you might bring some 30 pound. But I think 40 to 80 is going to be definitely 100% essential. And then on the wahoo is going to be, it's really kind of an unknown. There's going to be potentially a situation where you might go through a lot of jigs. On the trip that we do, we have guys that will go through 9-10 jigs in a day. A lot of that is because they're not using any leader, wire leader.
They're getting bit off.
They're getting bit off, but they're also guys that are going to tag more fish.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a two sides to this situation where, you want to use a wire, it's wahoo, so it kind of goes with that. But at the same time, you might go down there and not get a bite. Sometimes you might only have 2 days or a day and a half where you guys might do that, that kind of fishing, specifically targeting wahoo. So you want to make the most of it. If you go down there, all you got is 2 or 3 jigs, maybe you want to wire them up because you might lose those things in 20 minutes. But, I would go down there and take as many of those types of jigs as possible. And a wahoo jig isn't always going to be your typical bomb or a raider. Any kind of jig that's even a 6X Junior or even a surface iron, you can catch wahoo with. So don't rule that out, as a potential lure for catching wahoo. And make sure you fish hard. That wahoo fishing is really, like I was saying earlier, about repetition and just being out in the water as much as you can. And don't be afraid to lose some jigs. You can always buy more jigs. The last thing I want to do is a guy come back with the same number of jigs he took with him
and no fish.
Yeah. That wahoo, that's part of the program. And hopefully, you guys don't run into that. I have been down there where it didn't matter. The fish were biting full speed and they bit right, with the wire and everything. And that's great. But that's typically not what it is. Typically, you have to kind of be a little tricky with them and try to like finesse them a little bit. So that's on the wire. So I don't know what else do we have. For
No, I don't know.
fun fishing
Sam
there?
De La Torre, an encyclopedia of
Yeah,
knowledge
yeah.
here, man. Great stuff.
Past that, you guys might bring some other fun stuff like poppers and stick baits and things like that. If you guys end up fishing up the coast, maybe bring a bass rod. You know, I mean, it depends on how the rest of you guys' fishing goes. But there's always a chance you do some of that. You maybe some halibut fishing. You might bring some, some rock cod jigs. You might do a couple drifts. So that's kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Usually it's not something you're going to do a whole day, but you guys might do it for half a day. Something like that. And the bass fishing too, especially around the Tividat or places like that.
Pretty
damn
insane,
good.
right?
Yeah. And so you can either tax them or maybe they might have you guys catch some for a dinner, but it's fun to do. So you can't do it unless you bring the gear. So, maybe bring a bass rod as well.
All right. And if you have any other more specific questions, please let us know. Scott Bucher trying to butter us up before he quizzes you. It's more to like interrogate you. Like he wants to know. So he sent in $1.99. $2 was a little too much. $1.99. Thank you, Scott. We deeply appreciate that. I mean that sincerely. Sam, what kind of raffle prizes are you giving?
So I'm giving you a whole big box of Daiwa stuff.
Woo!
Another big box of ProMar stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what was the other one?
Young's fishing tackle.
Yeah, a Young's fishing tackle. So you're gonna have
big fish.
and big fish too. So
yeah, and
you got about 6 boxes of stuff I'm sending down
wow. There you are, Scott.
Yeah, you'll be covered, man. Yeah, as soon as you get in there, it's a free for all too. So the first guy to get into the boxes gets the most. Yeah, so you gotta get to this guy first before you see me.
I'll have to screw with him again for you on this trip. Last trip, he left his passport on the counter in the hotel, and I put it in my pocket, and he melted down. I go, just use my passport. They don't care.
Check, yeah.
They don't check it. And he's like, I can't do that. It got so bad, I finally had to let him have it. All right, Scott. Excellent question. Thank you for the $1.99. We appreciate that very much. What boats do you recommend going on? Isaac wants to know.
Your own, if you got one.
Yeah, Isaac, that's a really wide open question. Long range, local.
Up here, down there, yeah.
I recommend you find a crew that you hit it off with, you really like.
Maybe he's run out of boats.
Yeah, really? They're that bad? Yeah, really. I know Dan likes going on the Monte Carlo. He likes the guys on there. He's been going on the Victory lately and saying he's been enjoying that also. So, yeah, find a, you know how it is when you go on the Royal Star. It's like family now, right?
It is, Isaac. I mean, depending on what kind of trip you're looking on, I mean, I would say any of the boats that he's doing, I mean, it's a lot of times it's about the group. So if you hook up with a good charter group, they might go on 3 or 4 different boats. But typically you're going to have a very similar experience because the group is providing that. So
that's right.
To me, almost if you're able to kind of find that, that's almost more important than the boat specifically. But if you are looking for a boat, all of those long range boats down there, Royal Polaris, Independence, Royal Star, American Angler, all those boats, I mean, they're top notch.
Top notch.
And one of the things that we have going for us right now, which even though it's been normal for the last few years, is that they're running a lot of these shorter trips, which in years past, that wasn't an option. A 5-day trip was like the shortest trip they would run.
You couldn't experience those boats.
So it was hard for a guy that, either couldn't get the time off or just too much money. So now you can get on a 2-day trip and the prices are pretty comparable to what you would pay for like a lot of the other boats, and so you're not really paying a whole lot more. The hardest thing about those trips is getting on them.
Yeah.
Those long range boats that put up those trips, they fill up almost
fast
immediately.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to have that type of experience, I guess you would try to look for one of those trips and just go on a shorter trip. So, yeah. All
right, yeah, and if you have a more specific question, fire away, Isaac. No question about it. The controversy continues on this striper that was taken. Troutlicker 999 says, "I was there." I've no doubt that he was there. I'm going to take this. He said he snagged the striper. He had a 2 treble hook snag rig. Didn't get a video. That's okay. I believe you. But it was sad to see such a big striper get snagged and kept like that.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yep.
But I mean, on the other hand, just to think that there was a striper there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Of that size. Hey man, I mean, it gives you
hope.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to catch one of those. So I'd go right back down there. There's not going to be just one.
Yeah,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're in Surfside where I'm at, maybe. It's right next to there. So what the heck? Hey, Troutlicker, thank you, man. We got Friedman Adventure family members everywhere. Can't get away with anything. Rob S. XL broke the yellowfin record again, ? We won't know until they get in and put it on a certified scale, but indications are pretty good. And Justin Fleck, who's running the boat, knows what he's looking at. I would trust his gut. And if he says that it's 448, and that's what they think it is. He nailed that last one. I remember doing some interviews with him when he
Hope
was
they didn't
riding
snag
in.
it.
So,
Hope they
yeah,
didn't snag it.
yeah, really. Oh my God! All right, Kim Herbert, best way to winterize my reels.
You know what? I mean, there's really not much you can do except, make sure that they're clean and put away right, And what I mean by that is if you just took them out recently, like if you took them out today, you want to make sure your braid is nice and dry before you put them into a bag or something like that. Now, if you haven't serviced them for a while, you might want to get them serviced. We could do that for you here. I mean, pretty easily. We're actually pretty free right now as far as our servicing is concerned. But if you just wanted to get kind of an opinion whether it needs service or not, maybe you don't know. A lot of times you really don't need it to be serviced, And so if you bring in your reels, say you got 9 or 10 reels, we can go through them and say, yeah, these two you probably want to service. These other ones you're probably okay with. So there's really nothing that you really need to do. We really don't deal with a whole lot of, those reels are not going to go through the same thing like a car would in Wisconsin or something like that you're going to need to do anything special with it. But I would say making sure that your reels are good to go is something that we can probably help you with. But maybe check your spectra out, things like that. We can, change your spectra. I mean, with how easy it is to do that, as long as you're not doing it the day before you're going to go fishing, you can pretty much do it in the springtime, getting your stuff ready. But if you just kind of wanted to take care of it now, and that way when you do go fishing, maybe a trip comes up, without a lot of notice, and you want to just have your gear ready, bring your stuff by. We can look it over. Once it's ready to go, I mean, any kind of reel bag or reel storage solution, and they sell all kinds of stuff. Or maybe you have a drawer in your garage or something like that. I mean, nothing really special as far as that. But a reel cover probably be the only thing I would say. But make sure your line is dry. One thing that people will do sometimes is they'll bring in their reels, to kind of get their line kind of looked at in the springtime, and I could tell that it was put away wet. And it's real kind of musty and moldy, and that's something you don't want to have on your braid. That's about the only thing I could think of that you can do to make sure. And to dry, all you got to do is just leave it out, sitting out for about a week, and that's all.
Oh, cool.
Nothing really. If you have a long top shot, like if you're the kind of guy who's doing like that 100-yard top shot, you want to take that top shot off because that top shot's gonna be like a barrier to that moisture on the spectra. So that's another thing you can do. But just bring in your reels and have us take a look at them, and then after that, just put them away nice, and you should be good.
Tyler Tanaka with a $5 bill. Tyler, deeply appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. Sam, two-part question. When you use wire for yellowtail surface iron, what pound wire is best? And do you use and recommend titanium wire over stainless? Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it.
I think we talked about it a little bit on our trip. I haven't really done it a whole lot. I'm going to probably do it a little bit on this next trip, but I will say that a similar size wire to what you're fishing already is probably going to be where I would start. If not, one size a little bit heavier. That wire is going to be a little thinner than your mono. So if you're using 50-pound, like how you're doing at Cedros, you could probably go with that 60-pound wire or something like that, or 80-pound wire would probably be fine. What was the other part of it?
Use titanium.
I probably would just use the stainless. When you go into that thicker stuff, it's not going to kink up as much. And then also, too, you want it to be as stiff as possible. And I think that stainless is going to be a little stiffer than titanium. The titanium, I believe, is a little bit more flexible.
All right, very, very good. Tony Gonzalez says, Phil, is the El Patron sticking with 3/4-day trips this season? Is all it did? Such a great boat to be just a 3/4-day boat. Good question, Tony. I'll talk to some of the guys over there and see. I think they kind of just fell into that. They were having great success doing the island trip. People wanted to do it. They saw a need for it, and they just fell into it. My sense is they're probably going to stick with it, but that's just a guess on my part. I'm not exactly sure. 310 Rodworks is our buddy, Darren Dohe. And Darren says, Darren, it's great to have you with us, man. Honored to have you here. I attended the CCA South LA Regional Barbecue yesterday and was happy to see both of you there. What a treat to get to catch up with so many friends. Thank you both for all you do. I love Darren.
Yeah, Darren's a cool dude, man, and he's a guy who is a part of our fishing community. He's been around for so long, and a guy who really understands kind of the changes that have happened over the years, and he's a guy who participates and contributes to what we're trying to do there. So
100%.
Thank you very much, Darren, for coming down and bringing your crew down. He had well represented down there.
Yes.
The guys from 310 Rod Works were all great guys, and they came down and supported. So that was cool.
He was beeline. I was sitting in the bar. Or Eric, did you see me over there?
Mhm.
I shouldn't be around the bar, being,
Yeah.
But I was sitting over there in the bar, and he starts beelining for me. And I was sitting there being lazy, and I was going to put my hand out. I could see that was not going to work. He
Yeah.
came around, and I knew it was get a big hug from him, and that was great. Really great stuff. Trout Liquor 999. Are you guys live streaming on any other apps? You know, Trout Liquor, it's an amazing thing. You must be clairvoyant that you're asking. I was having a conversation with Mackie, and I haven't told Sam. Sam doesn't care either way, but after the first of the year, when we do these YouTube live shows, we'll also be live streaming simultaneously on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. So that will increase our audience, and we have a system where, if we get a question from Twitter, it will show that we're getting a question from Twitter, and so we're going to exponentially bump up our coverage. So
Jeez.
thank you for asking. Yeah, why not,
Imagine
right?
how many wings we're gonna get then?
Oh man, I'll tell you. Hey, there was a guy. I was filming a crab fisherman on the docks in Ventura. If I've told you this, don't tell me because I'd like to hear the story again
Okay.
myself. No. Anyway, so he goes, "Hey, Instagram guy, man. Hey, nice to see you." So I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, he meant YouTube
Yeah.
because I'm more on YouTube than. And so last time I looked at Instagram, I had 1,000 followers. I went back home and I went 10,000 followers. I post on Instagram all the time, but that made me realize that we need to be using all this
Doing
other stuff
something.
also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Bukert
Did it make you happy or sad?
made me friggin' jump for joy.
Oh,
I'm positive and happy about
I wasn't sure about
everything.
that.
Oh, I will make it
more
clear.
work,
I'll make it clear to you over at the chicken place. Rob S., 8-day trip. My heaviest is a 120 braid and have up to 80-pound fluorocarbon. Is that good enough?
Yeah. I think we were just kind of going over all that stuff, Rob. More than good enough. I mean, maybe take some 100-pound mono top shot, and that would be what you would use for that grouper fishing or maybe that yellowtail fishing at night if you guys use some of that. It doesn't need to be fluorocarbon. That 100-pound mono would be fine, but your fluorocarbon up to 80 is going to be more than good. 120-pound braid, I imagine that's the big reel you have, and I think it sounds to me like you'll be good on that too.
Scott Bukert says, Sam, keep us updated on your 11-day trip. Scott, you better send another $1.99 if you want Sam to do that. He won't do it without it.
$10 per update.
Yeah. Just for you, Scott. Oh, wait, Scott's going to be with me. Oh, my gosh. Maybe I will start drinking again.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about
It's
it.
going to happen this trip.
Yeah. Rob S. What will I need for the 8-day?
Everything I just said earlier.
Hey, Rob, if you're tuning in late, once this gets archived, once we go off the air, go back and give it a listen. And there's also, Mackie has a link in there to our YouTube Wahoo instructional video that Sam was so kind to do and did just a marvelous job on it. And Brian Wynn also has some great stuff on how to pull
come down this week? Maybe you can come down this week and we can just do a video on prepping for your 8-day trip.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's good? Well, we'll figure that out
We'll
later.
figure that out, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be live. We'll just
No, right. We'll do it and then I'll edit it up and throw it out there. How's that, Rob? These guys are going to be on our trip Monday, so we'll try to do it. If you can do it tomorrow, I probably can do that.
Tomorrow probably be good. Yeah.
Okay, and then I can probably have it out by Wednesday at the latest, maybe even Tuesday night. So, Rob, your wish is our command, no question about it. Plus, Sam is thinking right now, if I could read Sam's mind, he's thinking, if we do the video tomorrow on 8-day fishing, we can get over to the chicken wing place right now and end this show. All right, Mackie just put up another link, same link? Yeah, he just repeated that link. So you can click on that. That'll give you some really great Wahoo instructional stuff. Hey, Sam, it's great to be back. I think we're done. What do you think?
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, I've got at least, let's see, let me count this up. $4.10 to spend on you guys tonight.
Oh, great.
So, woohoo! Here we go. The rest of it is going on the under in the Tennessee game. So screw you guys. Hey, thank you so much. Sam, why don't you tell everybody about Island Fishing Tackle, when you're going to be open? Why don't you talk a little bit about Black Friday also? That sounds great.
Yeah, so normally we're here Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Phone number's here 310-707-1205. We're located at 21809 Avalon Boulevard. As far as our Black Friday stuff, I don't have anything in paper right now. I'm gonna have to kind of look back what we've been doing the last couple of years. I mean, it's been actually pretty popular, but maybe we'll try to do some different things depending on what we have in stock here as well. But all rods, reels, everything's gonna be on sale, and also even like line fill-ups. That's something that we got a lot of last year. Is guys kind of he was mentioning that winterizing. Guys that were putting their stuff. They brought in their reels, got brand new line. They went through a whole season of fishing, and they're like, I'm just going to get a brand new line on these 2 or 3 reels. And so that was part of the sale as well. We actually got pretty busy on the line winders, but everything's going to be on sale. So, come on down. I'll have some more details as I go along here. Probably this week here, I'll be posting some stuff up and getting you guys ready on that.
All right, perfect. Jonathan Jones, haven't been able to watch lately. The picture looks so much better, and the sound is great too. Great show.
All right.
Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate that very much. Trout Looker wants to know, is Newport Pier a good place to snag a striper?
Oh, it's the best.
Is that a good
far.
place?
That's the biggest one ever.
I don't think any place is like a good, you know what I mean? Like, there's wide open striper. I mean,
No.
there's some zones
Well,
like that.
Newport being with the outflow there.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere where there's going to be a river outflow, I think that's going to be your best chance.
Yeah.
I know that there's been times when up north here that's been good. I mean, Santa Barbara has been good. I mean, I don't think any place you can just go and dial it in and say, okay, you go on a Tuesday at sundown, you catch one. It just doesn't work that way. But there's been more caught in the last 2 years than I think ever.
Yeah, I know, right?
As far as and nice ones too.
Yep.
How can you get to Santa Barbara?
How can we get to Santa
You
Barbara?
could fly, take a train.
Fly, train, yes.
Yeah.
Walk.
Yeah.
Walk, skateboard,
Yeah.
Yeah.
rollerblade.
You want to do that?
You can take a boat. You
What are
can
you
take a
talking
boat
about?
there.
Grandpa takes you everywhere. He'd take you.
Hey, Grandpa. I
You
wanna
know he
go
would.
catch striper in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
The dude with the hair Soto. I like
This
this
is the
guy,
dude with the
man.
hair right
The
here.
dude with the hair Soto. Saludos, Phil and Sal. Hey, saludos a ti. Gracias. Love that, man. That's a cool name. All right. Hey, morning briefing. I won't be doing it at 3:45 tomorrow morning like I did it today. 3:45 was out there
3:45?
with
What'd
a
you do that
friggin'
for?
flashlight. Because we had a 6 a.m.
Oh.
surf fishing thing
Did you guys
today.
catch anything?
Kind of like a walleye perch and a small barred perch.
Okay.
Not all that great. And a
Right.
what?
And a yellowtail.
And
Yeah,
he
snagging
snagged a
on
yellowtail. Yeah, he snagged a nice one. Hit that like button before you run off, please. Thank you for the super chat. You guys were very, very generous tonight. We appreciate that. And who knows, if Mackie twists my arm, we might go live from the chicken joint as we consume chicken tonight. Just let it play while we
You
eat.
like it when you twist your arm, huh?
Yeah, I do. I'm hoping he's in my stateroom. No, that's reserved with Scott. All right, Jonathan Jones is still dreaming of albacore.
Nightmare.
Are you dreaming of
No.
them?
No.
You ever dream of them? No?
I've caught so many.
They're
I'm good.
cute. They're cute little things. Jonathan, me too. We'll make it happen. Thanks, everybody. Tackle Shop Confessions back, and I'm going to be seeing Sam tomorrow. We're going to put together a great 8-day getting ready how-to tomorrow. Don't forget to visit your surf fishing headquarters in Southern California. Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach. And if you need your garage door worked on or need a new one installed, Joe Welker's at your service. If you want to stay in Ensenada, man, you'll feel like you're a million miles away from everything, yet you're only 15 minutes from downtown Ensenada. Give Zeke a call right away. And if you're headed to the Channel Islands, you'll want to fish on board the Island Spirit out of Ventura Sport Fishing. Nobody does it better. The Taxman, Tim Marquez, for all your tax needs. And for your heating and or air conditioning needs, you're going to want to see John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. If you want to go to Catalina Island, do it on the El Patron. Go to www.longbeachsportfishing.org and get on the El Patron. And don't forget to support the Friedman Adventures channel by getting your merch today.